Hey guys, it's Angela with Always Angela, and if you've been watching my channel, you know that we always talk about faith, family, and life. Today's topic is shutting our mouth. There are times that we have to remind ourselves to just zip it up, shut up, stop talking. We can tell way too much information way too early, and sometimes we think we know the people we're talking to about our information. They're not always working on our side. So today we're going to talk about why it's so important to just zip it up, work in silence, and get it done. Younger, my mom used to have a way of telling people to just zip it up. And there was one particular time when someone was telling her all about their plans and all about what they wanted to do and how they were going to do. And it was pretty, significant things, pretty big things. And my mom just looked at her and she just said, well, how's it been going? And the woman said, I'm not really getting a lot of support. People are just being so negative about it. My best friend is telling me all the different ways that this is not going to work. And she had actually had a friend list a pro and con sheet on how her particular goal was not going to work. And she was busy trying to prove it to her. And so my mom listened. And for those of you who have known my mom, she was already ready with the response. She was already ready with the response. And my mom said, you know what? If you knew how stupid you sound, telling all your business, you'd shut up. Now that's my mom. She didn't mean it to be harsh, but she was always a very straightforward, straight off the hip speaking person. But it makes a lot of sense. So as I grew older, I started taking that advice for myself. I started to remind myself of that hard conversation my mother had with this young lady. And I would remind myself, you know what? It would be a good idea for me to just zip it up. Stop talking. Don't tell everything you know. But it's so funny because when we choose to not tell every single thing of what we're doing, and you know what I mean, it's great to have people in our lives that we can count on, that can cheer us on and remind us of some of our goals and help us to kind of be an accountability partner. Then there are those who are just listening for the sake of listening. There are those people in our lives who will listen to what you're saying, smile in your face, and are ready to stab you in the back. They're ready to sabotage, not because you're an awful person. No, it is because of what's going on inside of them. Quite often, we're dealing with people in the world around us who also have dreams, who also have plans for their lives. Sometimes people are not always so excited about you reaching your goals. I can remember a time many years ago when I was in high school, and I was one of those late bloomers. I just was not interested in high school, was not interested in school. I had no idea really what I wanted to do, but I kind of had in mind that, I guess I'll go to college and I'll do something, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I was called to the guidance counselor, and as I said, I was in high school. And when I got there, before I even could begin to have this conversation, my counselor told me, well, Angela, I called you in here today to help you prepare for your future. So I'm getting excited thinking, great, because someone is going to help me decide what are the things that I like, what are my weaknesses, what are my strengths, and I'm assuming, as I've heard other of my classmates have gone through, I'm assuming they're gonna, go through my records of, my academic record and look at all of the different things that I'm interested in, and they'd ask me questions, and we kind of would, figure out which direction my passion was, no. The guidance counselor told me, well, just want to let you know as you're planning for your future that you have a bright, wonderful future ahead of you. Again, I'm excited thinking, yes, I think so too, but I don't know what to do. The counselor said, and there are many things that, you can utilize your skills to move forward and propel you into the future. Now I'm sold. I don't know what this is, but I am so excited that this person, they get me, I'm thinking. They finished off the conversation by saying, because the McDonald's across from your neighborhood is just being built, and before the school year is over, I'm sure it'll be complete, and then you can go work at the McDonald's. And before long, while your friends are finishing up their 4-year degree, you can work yourself into being maybe a front end cashier or something like that. Wouldn't that be great? Now, I don't have a problem working at McDonald's. I do have a problem when working at McDonald's is the only thing you see me able to do. And so I remember going home quite disappointed and really surprised that I was not a part of that conversation as far as what my goals would be and what I was able to do and what would be, a part of my life that, where do we see my strengths again, right? Nothing. Now, of course, eventually, it's a great job while I was in school. Yes, I worked at McDonald's, did a great job. I was I was a drive-through girl. So in my time, we was HBO, hand that bag out, and you had to fold the bag and put it out there and everything. I was good at that, but that wasn't all that I was supposed to be doing, and I knew that. The problem was, because this person had spoken this to me, and they were supposed to be a person in authority or a person who knew, you're a guidance counselor. You're here to guide me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I guess this is all they see. See, that is one of the primary reasons why we want to be careful about where we share our dreams. Now, in this case, I did not get an opportunity to say anything. I was not prepared. But how many times have you had a conversation with someone and you said, oh, you know what? I want to be able to do this, and I'm trying to decide if this is the direction I want to go, and you're really just needing a sounding board, right? And so you're just spitting out ideas, and perhaps you're speaking to someone who is in a place where they can give you some advice. For instance, if you're looking to purchase a home, you may talk to a friend who has purchased a home. Sometimes that can be a big mistake. All of our friends are not awful people, but there are some people that we befriend who are not really our friends. There are going to be times where we're going to be talking to people and thinking they are there to support us, and they're not. They're now standing in judgment of your ability, like my guidance counselor stood in judgment of my ability or lack thereof, and they are kind of trying to steer you away from where you want to be. So that's one of the primary reasons why it's important to get the information that you need. Sure, sometimes we may have to share, oh, well, this is what I'm thinking about doing, but we don't have to share all the point by point by point ways that we plan to get there. Because in that case, you will often find someone who is more than willing to tell you another way to go. Well, if it were me conversation, but it's not about them, is it? It's about you. And so when we learn to gather the information that we need, we can begin to jot things down. Romans 4:17 reminds us that we can speak those things that are not as though they were. That's what God did. And so because of the Holy Spirit that dwells within us, and because, we have that right, we can start speaking life over ourselves. The word says we have power of life and death in our tongue. And so when we speak, we can begin to speak that positivity over our lives and you'll begin to have ideas flowing to you. You'll begin to have people coming to you and giving you the information that you need. And it's a process, right? And that's why some things have to be secret. Everything is not for everyone, because I hope you don't. But in my 50 years of living on this earth, I have found it to be tried and true. We can come across people who will not support us. There are people who do not see you. They do not see everything that's wonderful and fabulous about you, but they can certainly find some faults. If you learn how to keep what's sacred, then you're not having people speak over your life. Let me finish my story about the guidance counselor. So I worked at McDonald's for quite a few years, and I got to the point where I was tired of it. It wasn't quite the challenge that I thought it would be, and it wasn't as fun, and I knew that I wanted to do something more. I even I had people telling me, oh, well, you don't have to go to college, which I knew. You can just do other things, you can find other jobs, but I always knew that I wanted to learn something. I wanted to, get out there and figure it out. I knew I was looking for something. I just wasn't quite sure what. But then I met a good friend. I met a good, godly friend. And in meeting this person, I learned how to keep what was sacred. And so what I'm saying is this. I learned just by watching them and how they moved in their lives, just in seeing how they beat the odds, I thought, you know what? I love working at McDonald's because, I love me some sweet tea and some French fries and apple pie. But I want to do more, right? So I just started. I started doing more. I started listening. My older sister, Robinette, was one of my people. You know how psychologists say that sometimes you kind of need that person, most of the time, that one person or one or two people that you can kind of connect to, that kind of see you, you can plug in and get that positive energy. Mine was my sister Robinette. And she was gracious enough, I'm sure she didn't have a choice. She was gracious enough to share her friends sometimes. And she had some friends that were in college with her. And they talked about the different things that they were interested in. And I learned something. There was a difference, right, in having good friends versus just having friends. The good friends were all encouraging. They would work together and help each other study. I mean, I think 2 were nurse majors. Another one was an accounting major. And I can't remember, but the point is they went, different majors, but they supported each other. And I began to see that I had a lot of friends, but there were few really good friends. And in watching their interactions, I began to weed through and I could see, okay, these are people that I can communicate with. We're on the same page. We can connect. We can talk about the things that are interesting to me or the things that are interesting to them. We support each other. And in having that support system, but not having everybody in my support system, group or whatever, I began to unlock some keys in my thinking and in my confidence. So yeah, I started going to school. I started out at the community college and began to work towards an associate's degree. And then I heard about a program that the local university offered. And I was like, hey, I think I fit this. And then before I even communicated about it, someone else, one of my sister's sister groups, one of Robinette's friends, said, oh, you should try this program and see. And so I began moving forward. And all of that to say, the guidance counselor said, I'd be a great candidate to work in fast food for the rest of my life. I have completed my undergraduate degree, my master's degree. I've completed postgraduate certificates, and I've gone through a lot of different programs, certification, a lot of different areas, just because I'm really interested in learning, and I've completed about 2.5 years of a PhD program. But the point is, I would not have moved forward because what was spoken to me. Be mindful about the people you let speak over your life. Be mindful about the conversations that you're having with folk, because not everyone is on your side. Not everyone, and I'll just say, you would be surprised at the people who say they support you, but they don't. So learn to move in silence. Learn to move with your sacred circle and trusting yourself and trusting where this situation is going to take you forward by faith without looking for, and this is our next thing, looking for approval. We have to be very, very mindful that we're not sharing information simply because we want someone to approve us. We're not operating in this world so that everyone will be our friend. If everyone loves you, you're not being authentic. You're not walking in the trueness of who you are. We're not going to have our people everywhere we go. We're going to meet people that don't get us. We're going to meet people that may or may not like us, and it's okay. We're going to meet people that are a wonderful cluster for, going shopping. We're going to meet people that are wonderful with, sitting with you when you're down and out versus, having friends that you just want to discuss today's weather or you can discuss politics or something with. Everyone is not for everything. And that's wisdom. When we learn that everyone is not for every single thing, then we don't tell everything. We have enough wisdom to know if this conversation is for this person or for these groups of people. Is this a conversation that I can have? Will they support me? Are they here for me? All those different questions we have to ask ourselves. I had a situation where I was helping a young lady. At least I thought I was, right? I thought I was helping, and I was giving her some information that she requested, which was fine. But at the same time, I was also discussing some of my future goals and some of my future plans, just It meant it was not for any other reason except we were just talking. And I wasn't thinking that it would turn out the way it did. So we're just discussing things, and she's, constantly back and forth, and I'm supporting her with whatever it is that she's doing, and things seem to be going well. But months later, after discussing some of my future goals, she makes a announcement that she's going to be doing these things. Isn't that interesting? The very things that I was discussing about, would like to see myself doing this, and those, she was doing now this, and those. There's been times that I have said, this is in my younger years, if I have children, I'm going to name them this particular name. Of course, lo and behold, before long, I hear, I'm going to have a baby, and this is the name I'm going to use. Do you get where I'm going with this? I could go on, and please understand, you don't have time to be angry with those people. The person you need to check regarding that is yourself. Because when we learn to zip it up, we don't give people the ammunition to sabotage. When we learn to trust ourselves and trust where God is taking us, we don't need approval. When we trust that this is a process, I will get through the process. I'm laughing because that reminds me of seminary. That was one big thing they talked about the first year, trust the process. And I kept thinking, trust what? I don't understand the process. But now, of course, they were right in retrospect. I understand that you have to trust the process. And obviously that's been applicable in more areas than one. Trust your process. Your way may be very different from someone else's way. But you have to trust that what's for you is for you. When you learn to trust that process, you're not going back and expecting someone to agree with you because you need their approval. You're not bringing your sad songs about, this didn't work out, what do you think I should do? Because again, not everyone is interested in you succeeding in your life. And I know that's not an easy thing to hear, but it's the truth. Trust the ones that are in your sacred circle. And you're not going to be able to know who they are until you, as the Bible reminds us, test the spirit. Until you learn to watch as well as pray. Until you are able to apply the wisdom of God to how and to whom you're communicating with. Everyone is not for everything. Just like I'm sure you know, you have friends that you could hang out in certain circles with, and you have other friends that they can't cross over and hang out with you in these circles because they're just not that type of people. And you're not going to mix the two together because you know oil and water does not mix. It's the same way. You're going to now begin to process in such a way that you don't need the approval. You're going to use wisdom, and you're going to learn how to know, okay, this is the direction I need to go there, and this is the direction I need to go here. And these are my people. I'm going to tell them, but they don't need to know everything. And, these other people, they get the social interactions. You love them. You interact with them. They're great. Keep it social. Keep your business to yourself. So that way you don't have to hear anything negative. You don't have to hear people with what they think you're capable of doing. And then you don't have to deal with the sabotage of people trying to derail your plans into what they think you're able to do. And you won't lose your focus, right? Because what is for you is for you. The only one who can stop you from reaching your destination is you. It's you. And if you know God has told you to do it, there is no holding you back. There may be some time in between. This is what you're supposed to do, and this is when it's released. But that's okay. There may be a time period where you have to wait on the Lord and keep trusting Him. But the Bible tells me that if I'm of good courage and I keep trusting God, that I will get to not only my destination, not be weary, it won't be overwhelming. So learn to keep things in a place where you can motivate yourself and you can remind yourself of what your goals are. And you won't have the voices of the naysayers in your ear. You won't have the wasted energy of trying to get someone to approve you and your ideas. And you won't have people sabotaging and coming behind you, trying to destroy the very things that you're trying to build up to move forward. So keep those things in mind. We will pick up this conversation a little bit later. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be blessed. And as always, we keep our conversations real, always about Christ, and never cliche. Be blessed.